Has your business been affected by COVID-19? The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The VI SBDC is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration and collaborates with local agencies to support the small business community. The VI SBDC is nationally accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VI SBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them, so don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
Good morning and welcome to the VI SBDC Working Wednesday webinar. My name is Greg Kopach. I am a business advisor with the SBDC in the St. Croix Island. We, the SBDC, we're honoring our commitment through this series of webinars to support our active military, the veterans and their families and dependents in starting and operating successful small businesses. The presenter for today is Juan Marrero. He is a Veteran Business Outreach Center specialist, and he is assigned to the Puerto Rico area. Retired Army Sergeant First Class Juan Marrero joined that region in April 2019 as an outreach specialist to provide business training, as well as counseling and mentoring to veteran entrepreneurs in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Juan is bilingual in English and Spanish and brings a very unique skill set to the population he serves. Juan was an active duty service member for 22 years. He has an extensive training background and is skilled as a professional in manufacturing and in providing ERP or enterprise resource planning. Juan completed a technical degree in computer and network repair and AutoCAD from the Universal Technology College of Puerto Rico and studied chemistry at Inter-American University of Puerto Rico. As we progress, just a reminder to put your questions in the chat area as we go through the webinar, and we will get to them. Juan will address them in the chat, okay, or later during the question and answer segment. And as well, a copy of this webinar presentation is available upon an email request to the SBDC, okay? And our email address is info@visbdc.org. info@visbdc.org. And as an aside, I would like to thank all the veterans in the audience and their dependents. We at the SBDC here, it would be our honor to serve those who have served our country. And with that, Juan, the floor is yours, sir.
Hey, Greg, thank you very much, and really appreciate the opportunity that the SBDC and Virgin Islands always provide us, VBOC, to be able to extend that training, those webinars that we offer here in Puerto Rico to the Virgin Islands. That's so important for us to take care of the veterans over there in St. Thomas and St. Croix. This morning, really, when we spoke before, trying to come up with a subject today, and I realized there's a lot of veterans that are having issues with the financing part of opening a business. I've seen for the last 3 years that most veterans mostly have part of their financing venture covered, but most of them need money for equipment to the trying to cover that time until you break even. And we actually we put this together from the Boost to Business course, and trying to touch all the areas that today entrepreneurs and that they're seeing, and they're actually going through all this trouble trying to get financing. Nowadays, where everything that's going on in the world is a great time to open a business. It's all the way around, but people saying, all the pandemic and in our area, the earthquakes that we had and the hurricanes that we have every year, they're not showstoppers. It's the other way around. They create opportunity, and that's what we always looking for. You as an entrepreneur, you need to look for opportunities, okay? And need to find a solution for those problems and those opportunities. And that's how you're gonna be able to open that route to the business world. So let's talk about financing your venture. Okay, the objectives that we're going to be talking about is understanding what type of financings are available for your business. There is plenty. Okay, most of the time we think about banks and banks only, and it's not. It's plenty different options that we have as entrepreneurs to cover our cost. Okay. Also, we need to understand the difference between debt and equity. That's something that we always, for some reason, we go straight to debt every time, and we just disregard the equity part of financing. And also, we need to explore what lenders and investors are looking for, okay, when they decide whether to finance your small business or not. And that's something that from the beginning right now, we need to actually start thinking about, do I need some help from the outside? Okay, do I need an investor? And we're gonna be talking about the plus, the good and bad about investors, okay, and what is more convenient for you as an entrepreneur. Okay, next I'm gonna play a little video. It's a very informative video. I need you to pay attention because pretty much cover everything that I'm gonna be talking about. Okay, but I like to see it, and that's what you're gonna see right now. So it's like a minute something long, and but it covers everything real well. So pay attention. Here we go.
Most young companies need money, which may or may not come as a big surprise, but they do. The number one source they get money from is from their own savings, whether it's a few $100s or even thousands of dollars. That's what we tend to tap first. And a lot of companies don't get money from any other place. They get money from their own savings. And then after that, they're lucky enough to be cash flow positive. They're profitable. So we talk a lot as if all companies require all sorts of external capital. And the reality is that more than half of young companies get all their funding from a combination of founder savings and then cash flow from the business. And we're out of here. Next up on the list is another one that catches, I think, people by surprise, and that's credit cards. Almost every young company you can think of, to one degree or another, was funded on credit cards. And it is the single largest source of capital for young companies after founder savings. And then the next place where they tend to get money is from friends and family. After I've tapped out my credit card and I've used up all my savings, I turn to people I know and say, hey, will you help me? And that's the third biggest source of capital. And then the next place is banks. And the banks are a totally weird situation because with banks, they get a lot of attention, but they actually fund very, very few young companies. But it's not their fault. You have to think about the way bank lending works and how shareholders want banks to lend. They want them to lend money against secured assets. And young companies don't have any security. They have nothing to secure it against. And the joke in the industry is you can get all the bank funding you want as a startup as long as you don't need it. And then the last piece is venture capitalists. They get the lion's share of the attention, which in some ways is warranted. You know, your Googles and Apples and FedExes and many others all have venture capital money inside of them. But the reality is, and this is from Kaufman Research, less than 20% of the fastest growing companies in the United States took any venture money. And that's not because the VCs wouldn't give it to them. It's because they didn't want it or didn't need it, because they had all those other sources. I don't need money, and I certainly don't need money on these terms, because venture capitalists, unlike banks, they don't lend against secured assets. They give you money in exchange for shares. So they take some of your company away. So my answer is if you don't need it, definitely don't get it. There's no question the venture industry has become staid. The irony is it's intended to fund disruption, and yet it's an industry that had become complacent. And interestingly, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen the emergence of other mechanisms for funding like AngelList, like these kinds of peer-to-peer funding sources, as people increasingly provide capital in smaller amounts, but more people doing it directly. Having said all of that, though, venture capitalists are hugely important for those young companies that don't have access to bank money, but are growth companies. They have the prospect of being a $5 million or a $10 million company in a couple of years, and they need that growth capital to get there quickly. So it's a race. And the way you play the race is by getting money from people like venture capitalists who give you the money so you can compete with other people who are racing as fast as you are. If you can run a company off cash flow and some combination of credit card, your own savings and friends and family, Bob's your uncle, run, keep all the equity, because, there's no better thing than being in full control of your own destiny.
All right, so very clear. That's why I like this video so much. Is straight to the point, and it's not going around trying to make it pretty or sugarcoating. It's telling you that if you don't need it, don't get it. If you have savings, that's what you're going to use. Most new businesses, believe it or not, they use credit cards. They use some kind of line of credit to start. Friends, families. So it's many options before you get there. So hopefully, and this is something that I hear a lot, and people sometimes just don't understand. I was like, hello. People said, yeah, if you're planning to open a business, you should start saving. But the thing is, sometimes, when I told you in the beginning, you're looking for that opportunity because you have a solution of a problem, to open a business. And sometimes the opportunity just shows up, okay? And within a month or so, you have this idea to open a business, but before you weren't thinking about opening a business. So you don't have no savings actually to start the business. And that's why we need financing, okay? So here we are, we have the 3 reasons startup need funding, okay? Cash flow challenges, capital investment, and not to everybody, but lengthy products development cycles. So cash flow is the first thing that's gonna hit us right in the face. You open your business and trying to build a client base, trying to build some kind of a continuity in your sales. So there's no money coming in right away. So the cash flow challenges, even before you open your doors, we're talking about inventory, employees, training, vehicle, transportation, advertising. So it's so many things that has to happen before you open the doors of your business that you need that money to be there already. So cash flow challenges, it happens to every business. And it's a period of time that you're gonna go through these challenges, okay? And in a different class, we're probably gonna talk about it, that is called, until you break even. So you start your business and you start building your client base, and you start going through the process of developing your products and your sales. And it's going to be a moment that, you're paying for your electricity, you're paying for rent, you're paying for all these things from out of pocket, from your savings or any kind of line of credit that you have. And it's going to be a moment that you're going to break even, that the business itself is going to run itself. And then hopefully it start growing. That's how you start making revenue, and you're going to start making money. All right. So that's one. Cash flow challenge is something that we need to actually think about it when we're in the planning process of developing this business venture. The second one is capital investment. Okay. And this is equipment, the building that you're going to be working from, or the land or whatever, and materials. This is something that you need to purchase to make sure your business runs. So it's like it says right there, it's the cost of buying real estate, building facility, purchasing equipment. Okay, so all these things has to be planned, and where the monies come from. Okay, we're gonna be talking about different ways to trying to save money when we're talking about buying equipment, when we're trying to get materials, when you're talking to suppliers. Okay, because we're trying to minimize the cost in the very beginning. Remember that for me, I always tell our clients that the very beginning of your business creation, okay, the very beginning is very fragile, and you got to make sure that when you're planning, you're taking care of all the bases. Okay, so when you open the doors, you got that foundation, that strong foundation, and you can actually take some hits. You can actually go to some struggle, but you will survive. Okay, so the planning in the very beginning, talking about where's the money is coming from, is very important. And the third one is the lengthy product development cycles. This is not for everybody, but most people end up selling something. You know, you have your primary product. And during the time, you realize that you need more revenue drivers. You know, you need something that makes money for you, and just that only product maybe is not doing it. So you need to create a new product. You need to bring a new product. Okay. And another example is just come up with accessories for your main product. Okay. So it's different ideas. I'm just saying that it's a process of introducing this new product, and before introduction could be maybe testing, designing, and it takes time and money to do this, and we don't plan for that sometimes. So that's why I'm bringing it in right now today, so you capturing all this information, and you realize that when we're talking about funding, there's three things that we need to cover: the cash flow challenge, capital investment, and the product, the new products are going to come into cycle. Okay. All right. So take a look at this graphic. This graphic for me is very eye-opening. All right. And this is where our startups get their funding from. Okay, normally, right? So we're looking at, you look at this pie right here, and you see that 30% is personal saving and bootstrapping. And we're going to be covering what bootstrapping is all about. But it's very important that you see that is core, you know, is a big chunk of a pie right here. There's people, they're using money from personal savings. Okay. And then you have 35%. 35% comes from banks, credit union, and other type of loans. 25% other combo, credit cards, friends, family, government. Okay, believe it or not, and we're gonna be talking about that. And then you have 10% in this equity, you know, investors and other ways to get financing. But take a look at the two big ones, 35% and 30%. So we're talking about personal savings, and we're talking about friends and banks. Okay, for me, I always try to stay away from the banks. And it's up to you. I mean, sometimes there's no beat around. You have to go to the bank. But let's see what we have, our alternatives, before we go to the bank. Okay. So how do I know, you know, how much do I need? How do I know what type of a financing I'm going to be looking for? And these three steps in this take us again in the very beginning. I like to execute these steps in the planning phase of business creation. Okay, so the first thing is it's a lot of research. It's a lot of analysis involved in the very beginning of the planning process. And why? Because I'm trying, me as an entrepreneur, a business owner, I would like to be as precise as I can of how much money do I need to open my business. And in coaching that we do, mentorship, we always trying to tell you that it's not just until you open your doors. Remember, I keep saying that break-even part of the process. You need to understand that you have a time before opening your doors, and you got time after that you need funding. Okay, so that's when you do all this research, all this analysis. It's very important that you cover again all the bases, so you don't come in the empty-handed at the end. So need to be very precise on how much money do you need to get this business going. Number two, determine the type of financing or funding that's most appropriate for you. And I've seen that people take different type of financing. There are people that just go to the bank and get a loan and trying to cover everything in one place. There's people that use bank and investing options, bootstrapping. Okay, so it's different ways for you to minimize the burden of the financing process. So in the planning process, let's determine how am I going to get this funding? Where is the funding coming from? And the step 3 is develop a strategy for engaging potential investors or bankers. Okay. In the little video that I showed you in the very beginning, it says something that's very important, and it's the banks. Okay. They look, I'm going to let you borrow this money, but you need to provide me some security that if for some reason you cannot pay, I get my money back. That's how banks work. Okay. And you need to understand that if you don't have that security, that normally a brand new business, they don't have it. So what do I do? So you need to prepare yourself, and we build something that is called the business plan. Okay. And the business plan is something that it will help you not just to be attractive to banks and investors for you to get financing, but it's also going to help you to make decisions, management decisions, and to make that process of getting the plan ready for you to open the doors of your business more real. Okay, so these 3 steps are very important. So here's the 3 questions. How much money do I need? Okay, what will I use the money for? And what type of funding do I need? And this is go in relation of the 3 steps that we were talking about. Okay, so it's very important, that the money, the amount of money that you're looking for is actually put together in your plan, and then how we're gonna get the money. Okay, so let me see the. Okay, so also we're talking about how will I pay back the loan. So we're talking about going to the bank. If you have a secure asset that you can collateral, down payments, and there's many ways that you can actually secure that loan. Okay, and then how am I going to pay it? Why? Because the bank going to look at these things in your business plan to see if you're going to be worth the risk for the bank to actually let you borrow that money. How do I find a lender? Okay, we're going to be looking at SBA loans. The SBA has partners with the different banks in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. So it's something that the SBA actually have what they call the Sba Guarantee Loans. And we're going to be talking about that. And it's very attractive for the bank. It's something that can help you with that secure assets that the bank is looking for. Okay. Then the last 2, the funds, what funds do I have to invest in the business? And your credit score, your financial picture profile. It's very important to put it together. Here's different sources of financing. Okay, personal funds is something that I always stress, trying to build it somehow. The commercial loans, SBA guarantee loans, crowdsourcing is something that's skyrocketing right now. A lot of people are using crowdsourcing. But you gotta be careful with crowdsourcing. So microloans, angel investors, the private offerings, venture capital that we touched on in a little video, and private equity and the IPOs. Okay, so let's talk about personal funds. Okay, you need to skin the game before you seek any external funding. So whatever you have saved and is towards, you're trying to get this towards your business. You need to have a plan to build that funding. Sometimes it takes time. I've seen people that they inherit money. They believe it or not, I had a client that actually hit the lottery, and he had all this money to put there in his business idea. But most of all, we don't get that lucky. We have to actually work hard and trying to build that funding, the personal funds. Here's a different sources: cash, and savings, the bootstrapping that we're going to be talking in the very next slide. Your home equity, be very careful with your home equity. You put in your home on the line. Friends and family, credit cards, equities and stock portfolio, and retirement accounts. Retirement accounts, same as home equity. This is our money that you are saving for a reason, not for a business. It's something different, but for some reason, you have to use a retirement account. Just very, very careful with that. So bootstrapping. Okay, bootstrapping is when you find ways to avoid the need for external financing or funding through creativity, ingenuity, thriftiness, cost cutting, or any means necessary. Okay. So here in those little red squares, rectangles, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So bootstrapping is all about save money and trying to keep it internal. All right. So if you are into for example, the restaurant business, food business, and you need to buy equipment, tables, chairs, and plates, silverware. And sometimes, buying it brand new could be very expensive. So here's some suggestions from bootstrapping, buying used instead of new equipment. Okay, so you cannot buy, if you can lease equipment instead of buying. Coordinate purchases with other businesses. Right now, you guys seen it all over the States. Was in New York a few months back. And I've seen that there's a lot of businesses are closing due to what's going on in the world. And for you, that's an opportunity, to buy used equipment for somebody that just gave up and is shutting down. Also, obtaining payments in advance for customers. If you're into the manufacturer and you're manufacturing some kind of product, there's nothing wrong to ask for a down payment. Okay. Sharing office spaces with other businesses, making do with what you have. Okay. Vendor financing, that's what I said before about your suppliers. You can talk to your suppliers telling, hey, I'm starting right now. I need some help. And, there's many ways to actually minimize the cost of products and materials that you need. And crowdfunding is something that has skyrocketed, and we're going to be talking about it in a few slides. Okay. The most common source of startup funding, and most entrepreneurs bootstrap out of necessity. The most entrepreneurs do bootstrapping because it's a necessity. And sometimes, trying to save money, it's not because you don't have the money, you're just trying to save. You can have that money that you're probably, going to spend in something, and you can save that money for something else. So very important. Bootstrapping is like a very, very important tool for the entrepreneur. So we talk about the different type of financing and debt versus equity, and debt on the left side, equity on the right side. It gives you an example just to give you a clear picture of what we're talking about. The thing with the debt sometimes is generally considered the cheapest way to grow. Okay, because you borrow money, a loan, you get a loan, you get money from a bank or an institution, right? And you just pay back with the interest, and that's it. Equity is sometimes it's a little more involved. We're talking about somebody, even an institution that invests in your idea and your business, but they need to get something back. All right, money, ownership. Sometimes you cannot pay it back. Is part of your business for the rest of your life. You're going to have shareholders because somebody invests in your business, so they have a say in your business. But also, it could be have huge benefit beyond money. And I got to tell you this right now: if you decide to get somebody to invest in your business, make sure that somebody or that institution, it brings to your business more than money. Okay, I'm talking about money, experiences, connection, all that. So if I'm going to take somebody to actually be part of my business, it better bring more than money. Money is just part of it. I need somebody that got connections that can help me out and to actually instead of start crawling, I'm already starting the game running. Okay, so always take that under consideration. Debt financing. Okay, debt financing, it provides liquidity right away. Okay, you got it on the money. So it's something that's quick. I told you that could be the cheapest way, because you're just borrowing money and paying it back with some interest, and that's it. There's nothing else involved. Okay, it requires the 5C. They're going to check all of this, and we know. I mean, in our lifetime, we get this every time. You know, the credit, your collateral, your commitment, your character, and the cash flow. And that last one, we talked in the very beginning, there's going to be a challenge, right? So here we go. That's why it's so hard to get a bank to let a new business borrow money, because we already have a problem with cash flow. Don't forget about local community banks, credit unions. Okay, these people are local, and if you establish a good relationship with them and everything goes just fine, it could be something that can save you time and money if you get it local. Okay. This is what the lenders normally are looking for. I talked to you in the beginning about the business plan. A business plan is like a little resume, right? It's like a resume from your business. It has a lot of information. It talks about risk. It talks about many things about your business. So it's going to be a picture. The great thing about the business plan, you create a picture of your business, and I always compare it to the resume, because when I used to work in the private sector, you know, you look at the resume and it creates a picture. So when you're in front of the person that you are interviewing, you have an idea what you're looking for. Okay, so the business plan is pretty much the same. The two, they look for collateral, down payments, a good credit score, financial projections, how you see yourself in a couple of years, personal tax returns, and the basic personal business info. You know, they're trying to see the character, the finance profile and of your business before they actually let you borrow money. And why sometimes we get disapproved? Okay, it's very simple. You got a poor credit history. You had too much debt. You know, even though you got an excellent credit history, you might have just too much debt. All the cash flow and everything that you're playing with is not enough to get more money. Okay, not enough time in the business. Well, you need to create that history. Okay, that credit history. Industry perceived as a risky. The bank may say, wow, this is too risky, what you're doing as a business, and it's hard to actually make the decision and approve your loan. Not enough collateral, not enough security for them to actually let you borrow the money. Cash flow not strong enough, or believe it or not, sometimes it's incomplete application of paperwork. All right. One of the loans that we always recommend is the Mba Loan Programs. The SBA don't borrow money. Okay, they don't lend you money. I'm sorry. They got programs to help you to get the funding. They work with lenders. Okay, and over here in Puerto Rico, we have people from the SBA. They actually go talk to the bank managers and they educate the managers in these programs from the SBA. And normally, most of the times, the bank will recommend you to go through the SBA way. Why? Because like I said before, SBA guarantee loan is better than no guarantee. So the bank will say, okay, let me let you get into the SBA program. That way the SBA guarantee you loan, and that will give the bank a little peace of mind. They might ask for something else, but at least they have the SBA guarantee program. Okay. So from $500 all the way to 5.5 million to fund your small business. That's what we're talking about when the SBA guarantee loans, the range is that's what they provide. Okay, the SBA approved lenders can match you with the right loan for your business need. Why? Because the SBA has these different type of loans programs to help you out. It depends what you need the money for. Okay. For example, you have the SBA Community Advantage Program. Okay, the loans amount is $250,000. but you also have the microloans. Here in Puerto Rico, I don't know too well about the Virgin Islands, but we have 3 different organizations that provide microloans. The great thing about the microloans is the credit requirement is not as stringent, it's not as hard, and management and technical assistance is provided. They can help you out and actually a little more flexible than a normal bank. Okay, so if you need 50,000 or less, it's a good route to go through. It's a different type of loans, and people say, "One, but why? I mean, a loan is a loan, but why the SBA breaks these down in different programs?" So yeah, but it depends on what you need. Okay, the 7 Alpha, for example, is the SBA Primary Business Loan Program. So it's very generic. It's just a business loan program. All right. The 504 loan is for a building, a real estate, okay, long-term use equipment is you're gonna have, and it's provided just for that. With a 504, I cannot go buy materials. I cannot buy. It depends, So if I'm looking for a building of the equipment that I'm gonna be using in that building, like a primary equipment, I use the 504. Okay. Then you have the Express program up to 500,000. It's something that's very streamlined, express loan process. So it depends when you go to the bank, which program are you gonna go to? Okay, so but the thing is, the guarantee loan is always there. Right here for veterans, 0 upfront guarantee fees on SBA Express loan for military community members, including what you see right there below. If you're there in the below bullets right there, you qualify. All right, and you don't have to pay no guarantee fees for those SBA's Express loans. All right, and that could be thousands of dollars. So take advantage of that as a veteran. I get a lot of veterans that come to me and say, "Juan, I want an incentive, I want a grant." And the problem with the grant and incentives for veterans, they come and go. And right now, where everything has been going on for a couple of years for the pandemic, it's none right now. All the help is trying to build the economy, and it's not concentrating in specific groups like us veterans, right? So right now, what I can tell you right now that's on the table, it's always been on the table, is the 0 upfront guarantee fees. Okay, the fees, you don't have to worry about that. The grants and incentives, they come and go. We just had to be on top of them, the system to see when they come and you can use them, all right? It's eligibility for the SBA loans. Yeah, we're talking about it be for a profit business, and make sure the business is done in the US. You have invested equity, and you exhaust any other financial options. So it's very important that you understand that it's the SBA loan eligibility is pretty much for need. It's not like I want that money, it's because I need that money. Okay. And right here, this is a good list right here. This list right here tells you if you don't qualify. If you're looking, if your business is about gambling or speculation, no, don't qualify. Real estate investment, not for you. Real estate, if I want a good example is Airbnb. If you have plans to create an Airbnb, no. All right. Lending activities, multi-level marketing firms, any business providing sexual material, marijuana industry, religious organization, nonprofit organization, and so on and so on. Okay. And I had a question the other day. A veteran asked me one, but in my state, marijuana industry is legal. Why the SBA is not helping me with my cannabis clinic that he wants to open? I said, well, because it's a federal agency, and as a federal right now, the marijuana industry is not legal. So it's too bad right now. I will see what the future holds on this, but right now it doesn't matter if the state makes it legal. As a federal agency, the SBA cannot provide any help with that. Okay. Your local SBA team, you have one over there in the SBA. with Mr. Wayne over there in St. Croix. And you can call and go to the SBA website and find out what they provide. Excuse me. And the SBA website is a lot of help. It's a lot of training, and it's a lot of information. So if you get a chance, just go through it. Go through the SBA website and find out more about the loans, the 7 Alpha, the 504. I mean, just get yourself soak in that information and educate yourself on what's better for you. Okay. So just like at the SBA, the USDA provides similar loan programs, okay, and loan guarantees. So, but they concentrate a lot into the rural area, businesses in rural areas, and here's a list below what they can be used for. You know, just new business startup expenses. That's a big one, because I told you before, when you're a new business startup, it's very hard to get the banks to trust you. So call the USDA to see what they can offer. Acquiring an existing business is something that it's not a money decision only, but it get a lot of things involved. You know, why this business on sale? I mean, why the owner is trying to get rid of it? I mean, it's a lot of research and analysis also that has to be done, and the USDA actually helps you with that. Purchasing land, buildings, and facilities, and modernization or other business improvements. They're actually working real hard in modernization about solar power, wind power, and trying to get a business to switch from, you know, trying to get off the grid and use more solar power or wind power. We have a few people here in Puerto Rico that they've done it, and they help a lot. They don't pay for the whole thing, but things like 25%, 50%, it depends. Okay. What are some advantages of the SBA and USDA loans? And I said it before, you know, it's less risky for them because the government guarantees a percentage of the loan. And it's the government, it's the federal government. So they trust the federal government that something goes wrong with that loan, you know, default the loan for some reason, they're gonna get some money back. The loan is never guaranteed 100%, you know, in the case of the SBA and USDA loans, but 75% is better than nothing, right? So that's what the bank is looking for. What is good for you? You can obtain a loan with a large of down payments, okay? And just like the home VA loans, you know, for the houses, it's the same thing. You don't have to pay the down payment, 10%, 20%. You don't have to worry about that. It gives you a better, good interest rates and longer terms. You need more time to pay the loan through the SBA or USDA. You can get a better deal. All right, and no balloon payments or demand clauses. So that's a big one too. So here's some advantages about these loans, and hopefully, you know, you take actually advantage of that. So we talk about debt financing. So let's talk about equity. Equity is something that for some reason we don't go for it right away. People for some reason just want to get into debt, you know, and equity is for me is I will look at it first before I look into debt. Okay, so we're talking about investors. I'm talking about, you know, money that's not paid back. The investment is usually in exchange for partial ownership of your company. It can have benefit beyond the money. Like I said before, if I'm gonna bring somebody into my business, you better bring more than money. I want some experience. I want some connections. Okay, I want some ideas that you've done it before. So when you're looking for investors, make sure you do your homework and you find that person that's gonna provide that big plus for your business to be successful. So what are we talking about? Crowdfunding, angel investors. Sometimes there's not two angels about them. Venture capital, private equity, private placement, the public offering, and the peer-to-peer. Let's talk about crowdfunding. So crowdfunding was illegal before, but in 2012, that's when the Jobs Act of 2012 made it legal. All right. The great things about crowdfunding is that you can cast a wider net worldwide if you want to, or nationwide, for potential investors. Okay. The bad thing about it is that you may not want the crowd as part of your being owner of your company. So it's like I said, you need to establish in the very beginning of the planning process what you're going to do. And that's why some people go into debt, because they don't want to share nothing of their business with somebody else. If crowdfunding, the name says it's a crowd, it's not just 2 or 3, it could be hundreds, it could be thousands of people. Okay, they're gonna trying to support you on that. And I'll give you an example. And back in 2016, I think it was a few years back, it was a couple guys from college, and they put together an idea of they want to modernize the normal or the common cooler. You know, the cooler that you take to the beach, or the cooler that you take to put your beers or your water with ice, and it stays there for a while, you know, cold. And they decided to come up with this cooler, and the name of the cooler was the coolest cooler. Okay, and the coolest cooler was different because first it had these thick wheels that didn't, you know, sink in the sand, has a blender, Bluetooth speaker, battery. I mean, it had a bunch of different things. And this thing was crazy. So they went crowdfunding, and they put it there for the world to look at it. And the deal was that you as investors, you know, if you invest on them, they will give you a discount to get this cooler. So the thing is that playing around, because this was like a, you know, like a playing around, they put together a $13 million funding. Okay, $13 million. It was so crazy that they didn't know what to do with the money. So what happened was, when they started manufacturing of the cooler, they missed something very important, and it was the battery that's going to use to power the blender, the Bluetooth speakers, okay, all that. And that battery, instead of 12 volts that it was the original plan, it took a 20 volts to make things happen. And that skyrocketed the how much the cooler was supposed to be. So the 30 million is supposed to be more, because they couldn't actually put it together because it was more expensive than they thought. And the problem is they couldn't guarantee that money back to the crowd. And it was a pretty bad situation. You can Google it and see what the coolest cooler went through. And it's something that works, okay? But you have to be very careful with it. Why? Because the crowd is going to be part owner of your business. All right. Also, you're going to have your investors and your venture capitalists. All right. VCs are pretty hard to get. It's like a 20% worldwide. And for you to get venture capitalist money, you need to prove to be a proven business that it has a chance to be successful. Okay, so sometimes they require 2 years for you as a startup before they actually look at you. And the angel investors, you know, we talked about that before. There's people out there with money that they will like to invest and make more money. All right. Good example is a TV show. It's called Shark Tank. So Shark Tank, there are angel investors. And the great thing about Shark Tank is that that's a good example about somebody that comes to your business, not just for the money. It's money, experience, connection, fame. I mean, you name it. So that's why you have to do your homework on that. All right. There's 3 financial statements that you need to understand in your business. Okay. And I bring that at the end because it's something that we're talking about funding. But then at the very end, I got these 3 documents that's going to be part of your everyday work at your business. And you as an entrepreneur, as an owner, you need, I don't want you to think that I'm telling you need to be an expert on this. That's why you hire an accountant. That's why you have somebody that runs the books, right? But you as an entrepreneur, you need to have an idea what's going on with these documents, all right? And it's very important because if you're trying to get funding, you get loans approved, and then you have the money, and you don't understand these 3 documents right here, your money is going to be gone like that, and you don't know what happened. Okay, so it's 3 of them. The first one is the balance sheet. The balance sheet, like it says in the bottom, is a snapshot of assets, claims against those assets, and it shows what the company owns, owes, and how it is financed. Okay, so it's very important you see what you got, what you owe, and how this is financed, how this money is moving around to cover one to each other, right? So you need to understand what you got as a company, okay? You overall worth, right? And you need to understand what you owe. So you have to pay that in whatever you got left. That's what we call revenue. So you need to understand all these 2 numbers, these columns right here, to make sure there's no money loose around, okay? Then after the balance sheet, you got your income statement. And below it said it shows revenue and expenses and provides a bottom line of profitability over a specific period of time, okay? So let's say I do this monthly. So every month I'm gonna see this statement right here that tells me how much I'm making, that's my revenue, okay? How much do I have to pay back my expenses, and then it provide me a bottom line, how much am I gonna make, okay? My profit. And the crazy thing about these numbers right here, I see this a lot. And people say, wow, Juan, I'm having so much money in my hands, but then at the end, I'm making so little. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. You need to start playing with these numbers. You need to start, being a visionary and see which way you're gonna go. Right here, this snapshot of this income statement is telling me that I'm making $1,200,000 a month or a year, whatever you want to play this, okay? From that 1,200,000 at the very end, I'm making $18,000. Okay, so the question is, are you comfortable with that? Are you not? So that's how you're gonna have to start playing with your vendors. Okay, start trying to make this more profitable. Okay, and if you at the end, I'm gonna explain how to get in touch with me or the SBDC, that they're very, very, very capable to help you with these numbers, okay? And the last one is the flow statement. And the flow statement, like I said below, it shows sources and uses of cash, as well as net changes on cash over the specific period of time. I love this one, because this one right here is a picture of cash. Liquid, okay, and it shows you the cash that is coming in and the cash that's going out, okay? And right here you can see it's one that raised a flag right away for me, and it's if I'm a business owner, okay, and I went public through my business, I'm making big money with my business, but then I see that issuance of stock, $600,000. If I didn't do that, I'd be, oh my God, what happened here? Okay. That's $600,000 that I sold stock to make money to use it in the business or for something else. So just to give you an idea that's how we look at things, and how these 3 statements are so important for you as an entrepreneur to manage your money, to manage that funding that we're looking for. Okay. All right. So here's the key takeaways. Okay, we have plan for future growth. Don't put everything at the beginning, okay? And explain myself real quick. You get with the bank give you partial money, go to another bank, go to an investor, and you actually depleted all your options, and you open your business, everything is going okay, you need to grow, and now you cannot go back to the bank. You cannot go back to the investors because you already owe them money, and you need to ask for more. And the bank's going to ask you, okay, you want more, provide me more collateral, provide me a down payment, it's not going to be easy. So always have that plan for the future growth, okay? Know the difference between debt and equity. We talk about it here, and just research, do your research, do your homework, understanding how much money you need and what lenders are looking for. And don't forget the SBA loan programs that can provide financial assistance and variety of business needs. So it's three things that we're gonna end up here with that just take it to, think about it. Do your analysis, your research on how much money you need and where you're gonna get it from. And talk to the SBA, talk to the SBDC, talk to VBOC, and get some mentorship, okay? Don't do it alone. There's so many ways that you can actually educate yourself to make this process more easier. I mean, actually easier. So, well, I hope you enjoy the webinar. I think it's a very important part of the business creation and developing of actually business. If you already own a business, it's something that we have to take for granted. Sometimes we take it for granted that we're not going to grow. That everything that we have is what we need. So, any questions? Anything that we need to discuss? Going once?
Juan,
Yes.
this is Mary Jo. Question.
Yes.
In terms of borrowing money, if you borrow all up front and you don't have any cushion, you could run into some challenges. How much money in terms of operating expenses do you suggest that a startup business would have?
Great question. Great question. That's a question that I get all the time because, first of all, it depends on the type of industry that your business is involved, okay? But I always give the recommendation that you need enough money to cover your expenses at least for 6 months. I give in 6 months, it's like a blanket, it's like a standard that I've seen that normally everything is start going to the break-even part of the process. But you're right. And the way I do it also is I always recommend, instead of to get everything up front, have a line of credit. Have a line of credit and just get it, have it open if you need it. Because the question is if you need it, not if you want it. So you're right. The main thing right here is to have that number that you need all the way to break even, especially when you do operations in your business, and open a line of credit and have it there just in case you need it.
So with a line of credit, are you paying interest on that line if you don't use it?
You shouldn't. You shouldn't, because like I said before, remember I said before in the very beginning, that little video, it said that most of the businesses are founded in credit cards and in line of credits. So you have to make sure, I mean, and you're right, you just need to do your homework and do the research to get a line of credit that it give you that 0% if you don't use it. Okay, so it's I mean, even I have a client that he always playing with line of credits because you get 0 APR for 18 months and blah blah blah. He keeps moving this money that he's paying slowly but surely, but he's not paying no interest. I mean, but like I said, you have to do your research. But the main thing is not to get a line of credit that you're paying a fee just to have it open. So we're trying to, do bootstrapping here. And so trying to get the less expense for business creation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is Jessica. If you have a business, but you want to slightly pivot to a different product, can you take out a loan on the new product that you're wanting to do, or does it have to be for the entire business?
Yeah, well, the question here is, if I have a company, a business, and within that same business, I'm gonna create a new product, you already got the funding for the business itself, including the product. So in the beginning, you know, we talk about those lengthy development products that you come up with after you open, that will follow that category right there. So if you, during the planning process, you leaving doors open for development of new products, yeah, you need to start doing your research on how much this development may cost. And you may have to get, you know, like I said, the line of credit or some type of funding, investors or whatever, to cover those new products. Because the new products is more complicated than people think. You know, it's not just you come up with a new product and that's it. You know, it's the development, the testing, the advertising, and the implementation of the product. So I recommend for you that during the planning process, if you can, you know, if you're looking, you're a visionary, you see that this is going to happen, go plan for it and trying to get the funding for it right away. But most of the time, what happens is that comes after you get the funding. It comes after you open the doors and you need a new revenue driver, and you're coming up with a new product. And most of the time, that's why I love the line of credit, that there will be something to fall onto. Okay. But yeah, trying to go back to the bank and get a new loan for a new undeveloped product is going to be pretty hard. So unless you have some collateral, some personal credit, it's pretty hard to get it under the startup. So just to make sure you understand that.
One other question. You said, is SBDA, you said, is the last option to get funding? Or did I?
The what?
I want to make sure I understand. Did you say that the SBA is the last place to get funding? Do you have to be rejected by the banks? Because I didn't quite understand what you meant by that. You have to be rejected by the banks, and so first before you go to
the thing is, when you go to the bank and you're trying to get a loan, they need a secure access to match that loan. And sometimes it's collateral, sometimes they need a down payment, sometimes they need the history of your startup to see if they can feel secure that you're going to pay this loan back. But instead of the first thing you should do, you got to use the SBA Guarantee Program. You don't have to be a veteran for it. I mean, the difference between a veteran and family of a veteran and being a civilian is that you don't have to pay the guarantee fees. Like I say, depends how much you borrow. That could be thousands of dollars. But yeah, I do recommend that the first thing you use when you go for loans is the SBA Guarantee Program.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, any more questions? Okay, so once again, I really appreciate the time that the SBDC over there in Virgin Islands always provide us to talk to our veterans and to keep in touch of what's going on there in the Virgin Islands. I'm trying to plan with people there, with Greg and other people in Virgin Islands, to go there and provide some boost to business courses. And one time we get this pandemic thing straight a little bit, hopefully I go over there and provide some face-to-face counseling and the boost to business course. From VBOC, my name is Juan Marrero. If anything that you need, I'm gonna put in the chat. I'm gonna put my information so you can contact me. But also you have the SBDC there in Virgin Islands, and they pretty much do more than I do. And they're very good people over there, and I really thank you for the opportunity. So is there no more questions, no more discussions? I'll handle it back to Greg.
Thank you, Juan. And thank you, the attendees out there. We appreciate your attendance today. And we want to let you know that while this was a financing webinar, The SBDC has a lot more resources for our business communities, okay? And, up to and including things like business startups, marketing plans, technology plans. We had a call coming out of COVID where a business saw some light. They were growing a little bit. They needed a new manager, but didn't really, weren't experienced in interviewing and hiring and setting down a job description. Use us as your everyday resource, okay? And by the way, our website is visbdc.org. We have an app you can download on your phone. It's the VI SBDC app. You can get it from any of the app stores. You can like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google My Business, okay? We have a YouTube channel that is kept current with uploads and on-demand webinars. So we're a local resource. We work throughout the territory. And lastly, just a little glance at some of our upcoming webinars. And most recent is this evening at 7 p.m. And that is a SCORE webinar on QuickBooks. QuickBooks is one of the many financial management programs for our businesses. And all of us business owners, if we learned nothing during COVID, we learned the necessity of detailed financial management for our businesses. We really got a lesson in cash flow amidst those 5 extended mandated government business enclosures, okay? You don't have to work alone. Utilize us at the Small Business Development Center, okay? We have a series of webinars. And I won't list all of them, but remember the financial management one tonight. On our website, we are a one-stop shop for COVID resource, okay? Connections to the agencies in the territory for safety and health practices. We will keep you updated on COVID conditions as well, okay? So with that, we thank you. And again, to all the veterans and dependents out there, we look forward to talking to you again. Give us a call. Let's work together, okay? And we appreciate your time and have a wonderful day from the Small Business Development Center. Thank you.